what I was talking about there was the claim that many Israelis and Israel's supporters, many of Israel's supporters make, that we share values. Okay, that in other words, the United States of America and Israel have the same values. And the point I was making is the only values that we share with the Israelis are old values that are thankfully now gone, which dominated mainly in the South after the American Civil War and up to the Civil Rights Act of 64 and the Voting Rights Act of 65. And that's when Jim Crow America was alive and well in the South, and even to some extent in the North, to be honest. But anyway, Israel today is basically the equivalent of the Jim Crow South. That's certainly true in the West Bank and in Gaza. We could argue what it looks like inside Green Line Israel, where it's not quite as bad as in those two other places. But anyway, that's the context in which I brought up the Jim Crow analogy. And again, I was talking about apartheid. Let me say a few words about genocide.
Yeah, please.
I think that if you look at the South African report that was submitted to the ICJ, and I think 84 pages long, thoroughly documented, a really well done report on what the Israelis were doing in Gaza as of late December 2023. You want to remember that they sent their report to the ICJ in late 2023. And then it was in January 2024 that the ICJ, based on that report and all sorts of other pieces of information, the ICJ said there was sufficient evidence to make the case that there was a plausible case, to make a plausible case that Israel was committing genocide. And if you look at what Israel has done since January 2024, it has in no way taken its foot off the accelerator. It's continued to pound Gaza. And it's not surprising that South Africa has intervened again with the ICJ because they were so disturbed by what's been happening since the ruling. But anyway, I paid careful attention to the report, the South African report. I listened to all the testimony, and I've been studying the issue myself. And I think when you look at what is necessary to prove genocide, and you look at what the Israelis are doing, I think it's hard not to conclude they're engaged in genocide.